You've probably been told your whole life that saying I love you is the ultimate expression of affection, that those three little words hold the key to his heart. But what if I told you that saying them too soon, too often, or in the wrong way could actually kill attraction, not build it? Saying I love you too soon can make you lose your mystery. In the early stages of dating, emotions can run high and it's easy to get swept up in the excitement of a new connection. That rush of adrenaline, the butterflies, the long conversations that stretch into the night, all of it can make you feel like you've found something rare and special. But in that emotional high, many people make the mistake of expressing feelings before they've fully developed, or before the relationship has earned that level of emotional intimacy. When you say, I love you too soon, it may feel authentic in the moment, but to the other person, especially a man who is still assessing the depth and meaning of the connection, it can feel like a shortcut to something that's supposed to be built slowly. Mystery is not about playing games, it's about pacing. It's about letting someone discover you layer by layer so their interest grows with each interaction. When you immediately give someone the emotional climax of, I love you, you're skipping the build-up, the tension, the anticipation that actually make those words meaningful. If you haven't allowed the other person to invest emotionally, to face challenges with you, to earn your vulnerability, those words lose their impact. Instead of making him feel special or bonded, they may make him feel pressured or confused. He might wonder if your feelings are genuine or if you're just projecting an ideal onto him. This doesn't mean you should hide your feelings or suppress your emotions. It means you should understand the timing and context in which feelings are best communicated. Men often fall in love, not through what is said to them, but through what they experience with you. Your actions, your boundaries, your energy, these are what make him feel safe, intrigued, and magnetically drawn to you. When you say, I love you, without letting the emotional journey unfold naturally, it can come across as if you're trying to lock something in, rather than allow it to evolve. It can make it seem like your love is less about him and more about your need for reassurance or certainty. Men are wired to pursue. They are most attracted when they feel they are earning a woman's affection over time. If everything is handed over too quickly, including your deepest emotional commitment, it removes the very element that builds emotional tension and desire. If a man hasn't had the space to wonder where he stands with you, if he hasn't had to question and reflect on how much he values your presence in his life, he won't experience that emotional shift that turns attraction into attachment. The more gradually and organically love is revealed, the more real and enduring it feels to both people involved. Men value what they earn, not what is handed to them easily. This is a fundamental truth that applies not only to relationships but to many aspects of life. The things we work for, struggle to achieve, and invest our time and energy in become more meaningful to us. This psychology applies directly to dating and attraction. When a man feels he has earned your attention, your affection, your time, it becomes something he cherishes, protects, and prioritizes. But when those things are given freely and too quickly, without him having to step up, take initiative, or show real intent, their perceived value diminishes in his mind. It's not about manipulation or playing hard to get. It's about understanding human nature. When we put effort into something, our brain tells us that it must be important to us. The more effort we put in, the more emotionally tied we become to the outcome. So if a man has to make time for you, plan dates, engage in meaningful conversations, overcome small emotional challenges, and slowly earn your trust, he begins to associate you with significance. He sees you not just as someone he enjoys, but as someone he's invested in. That investment creates emotional depth. On the other hand, if from the beginning you are always available, overgiving, showering him with attention, validation, and love without any real emotional effort on his part, you may think you're being kind, open, or loving, but what often happens is he feels an emotional shortcut has been taken. He didn't have to work for any of it, so there's no sense of accomplishment or connection built through effort. And without that, his mind may start questioning whether what you're giving him is genuinely earned or if it's just how you operate with anyone you're attracted to. Men subconsciously want to qualify themselves to someone they admire. They want to feel like they've succeeded in capturing your interest. This makes you feel rare. It makes you stand out. The moment he has to step into the role of someone who pursues with intent, his emotional engagement increases. He doesn't want to lose something he worked to gain. That's where the shift happens. When he feels that what you offer is not just valuable, but that he played an active role in cultivating it. This doesn't mean being cold or withholding. It means setting standards, creating emotional space, and allowing a dynamic to unfold where mutual investment grows at a balanced pace. When you don't hand yourself over emotionally or physically too soon, you signal that your love, attention, and vulnerability are precious. You signal that being close to you is not a given. It's something that must be earned. And when a man earns something, he doesn't just want it. He respects it. Emotional investment grows when desire is met with boundaries. In the beginning stages of attraction, there is often a spark, a magnetic pull that makes two people want to spend time together, talk endlessly, and explore the chemistry that's beginning to build. That desire can feel intoxicating, and it's easy to get caught up in the excitement. But desire alone isn't enough to sustain emotional depth. What actually builds lasting emotional investment is the presence of clear, healthy boundaries. Boundaries don't repel desire, they refine it. They shape it, giving it structure and purpose. Without boundaries, desire can turn into entitlement. But with boundaries, desire matures into respect and commitment. When someone desires you, that desire grows when they come to understand that not everything about you is available on demand. Your time, energy, emotional availability, and even physical intimacy are not things you offer simply because someone wants them. They're earned over time through mutual trust, effort, and consistency. This signals self-respect and creates a deeper level of intrigue. You're not saying no to connection, you're saying yes to quality. You're showing that your heart, your space, your attention are sacred, not something given to anyone who shows mild interest. Boundaries are also where true compatibility is tested. They reveal whether someone is in it for the real connection or just the thrill. When a man encounters your boundaries, it forces him to rise to the occasion. If his interest is genuine, he'll adapt, he'll grow, he'll invest more to stay close to you. He'll start thinking long-term because he sees that this isn't a surface-level interaction. It's an opportunity to build something meaningful. On the other hand, someone who is only looking for validation or a short-term thrill will likely move on when faced with your standards. And that's a good thing. Boundaries are your natural filter, attracting the right energy and repelling the wrong one. Desire without boundaries becomes chaotic. It leads to confusion, miscommunication, and disappointment. But when you pair desire with boundaries, you give both people the chance to build something intentional. You create an environment where emotional safety can exist. You show him how to treat you, how to respect you, and how to engage with you in a way that nurtures love rather than drains it. Emotional investment grows not because you give more, but because you give wisely. You choose when, how, and to whom your most vulnerable parts are revealed. When a man senses that there is a process to knowing you, an unfolding that takes time, presence, and emotional maturity, he leans in more. He doesn't just want you, he wants to understand you, support you, and show up for you. Because through your boundaries, you've taught him that the real you isn't a prize handed out quickly. It's a journey that only someone truly worthy gets to experience fully. Replace "I love you" with powerful affirmations that reflect value. When people say "I love you," they often believe it's the most powerful phrase they can offer in a relationship. While it holds emotional weight, its impact is often diluted when said too early or without context. Many men have heard "I love you" before, sometimes from people who didn't truly understand or value them. The phrase, though heartfelt, can start to feel generic when it becomes a routine expression rather than something that carries deep emotional resonance. What often speaks louder than love are the words that show understanding, appreciation, and admiration for who someone is. These are the affirmations that create emotional safety, that pierce through his defenses and make him feel seen in a way that's unforgettable. Instead of rushing to say "I love you," use words that reflect his unique value. Say things like, "I feel really safe when I'm around you," or "You have this calm strength that makes me trust you." These statements tell a man that you see him not just as someone you're attracted to, but as someone who plays a meaningful role in your emotional world. That's rare. Most men don't hear those kinds of words. They're used to surface level compliments about how they look, what they do, or what they can provide. But words that affirm his inner qualities, that show you notice his effort, his consistency, his character, those are the words that hit differently. They create a deeper connection because they speak to the kind of man he wants to be. Powerful affirmations also serve another purpose. They slow down the emotional process in a good way. Instead of dropping "I love you" and expecting an immediate response or emotional shift, you're laying a foundation. You're building trust. You're giving him space to emotionally evolve at his own pace without pressure or expectations. And in that space, his feelings for you are allowed to grow organically. He begins to crave more of that emotional feedback from you, not because you're throwing love at him, but because you're affirming him in a way that fuels his masculine identity. This approach also empowers you. When you choose to express yourself through value-based affirmations, you remain in control of your emotions. You're not saying "I love you" to get something back. You're not fishing for a reaction or a label. You're simply showing someone that you recognize their effort, that you appreciate who they are, and that you enjoy the way they show up in your life. It's powerful. It's mature. And it creates a rhythm in the relationship where emotional connection is built, not rushed. When a man starts hearing things from you that he doesn't hear from anyone else, when you say, "You inspire me to be better," or "I admire the way you handled that situation," you become unforgettable. You stand out, not because you were quick to say you loved him, but because you reflected his best self back to him in a way that no one else had the presence or awareness to do. Make him feel chosen, not chased. That's where obsession begins. There's a powerful difference between being pursued and being pursued by someone who had options, who didn't need to choose you, but wanted to. When you chase someone, you put yourself in a position of lower value without realizing it. You shift the balance of energy in the relationship and unintentionally signal that his attention, affection, or validation means more to you than your own self-worth. But when a man feels chosen by a woman who clearly values herself, who isn't desperate for a connection, and who carries herself with quiet confidence, he doesn't just enjoy her attention, he becomes addicted to it. Being chosen is different than being needed. You don't need him to make you feel whole, but you want him because of who he is and how he makes you feel. That distinction creates an emotional tension that pulls him closer. It tells him you're not looking for just anyone to fill a space in your life. You're selective, you have standards. And the fact that you've allowed him into your world makes him feel special, seen, and uniquely important. That feeling, that sense of significance, is what makes a man invest more, commit deeper, and try harder to earn your continued attention. When you make a man feel chased, it relieves him of the very role that builds his emotional connection to you, the role of the pursuer. Most men, whether they admit it or not, feel most alive in a relationship when they're actively earning a woman's affection. It gives them purpose. It gives them clarity. It makes them feel needed in a masculine way. But the moment he no longer has to put in effort, because you've already made yourself overly available, overly expressive, or too quick to accommodate, he no longer feels that purpose. He becomes passive. The relationship begins to lose its charge. He doesn't feel the excitement of winning you because there's nothing left to win. On the flip side, when you move with intention, when you express interest without overextending yourself, when you show warmth without overgiving, you create space for him to step into his role. You allow him to wonder about you, to think about you when you're not around, to anticipate the next conversation or date. This space is where obsession lives, not in your constant presence, but in your graceful absence. He begins to admire the way you respect your time, your standards, and your emotional energy. He sees you as someone with a rich life, someone who could have anyone but chose him. And that awareness is what makes him step up. When you lead with the energy of self-respect and calm selectiveness, a man doesn't feel like he's being lured or manipulated. He feels like he's experiencing something rare. He knows that your attention isn't easily given, and that makes it all the more precious. The right words unlock his primal need to pursue and protect. In every man there exists an instinctive drive, a deep evolutionary wiring that responds not just to beauty or chemistry, but to how a woman makes him feel about himself. This isn't about flattery or empty compliments. It's about the words that spark something deeper in him, that trigger the part of him that wants to rise, provide, and commit. When a woman speaks to that part of a man, through words that reflect admiration, belief, and subtle challenge, he doesn't just become more interested, he becomes emotionally engaged. He feels a pull that is difficult to explain, but impossible to ignore. He starts to feel like being with you isn't just about desire, it's about fulfilling something within himself that feels important and necessary. Most women are taught to be expressive, to share their emotions and affection openly. But what often gets overlooked is how those feelings are communicated. A simple "I love you" may not have the same effect on a man as a well-timed, sincere statement that reflects his strength, his growth, or his impact. When you say something like, "I really admire how focused you are when you talk about your goals," or "I feel safe when I'm with you," you're not just sharing appreciation, you're confirming his identity. You're showing that you see something in him that he wants to believe is true. And in doing so, you ignite his natural instinct to live up to that image, to show up for you even more. These moments are subtle, but they are powerful. A man may not always show his emotional reactions the same way, but when you say the right thing, you can literally watch his energy shift. He sits up straighter, he looks at you differently, he becomes more present. Why? Because you're no longer just someone he enjoys being around. You've now tapped into the part of him that wants to be more for you. And when a man feels that way, he naturally starts to pursue you, not because he has to, but because he wants to prove to himself that he is worthy of the image you reflect back to him. Protection doesn't just mean physical safety, it's emotional too. When a man feels emotionally connected, He becomes more attentive, more present, more invested. He starts asking different questions, making plans, checking in, not out of obligation, but because his instincts are now tied to you. He feels responsible for your emotional well-being because you've shown him that his presence makes a difference in your life. The right words don't make a man fall in love instantly, but they plant seeds that grow quickly and deeply. They bypass surface-level attraction and go straight to the emotional core, where lasting connection is built. When you know what to say, when to say it, and how to say it with sincerity, you create a space where a man doesn't just want to be near you, he wants to show up for you, protect what he's built with you, and pursue you with purpose.